And we're back with more on the January 6 hearings where committee members laid out the details of Trump's fake electors scheme. With me to discuss is New Mexico's Secretary of State, Maggie Toulouse Oliver. New Mexico is one of those states that Trump targeted in his fake electors scheme. Madam Secretary of State, thanks for joining us. So in your state, just 2 weeks ago, a county commissioner and the county commission refused to certify primary results. The chairman of the January 6 committee, Benny Thompson, talked about this commission in his opening remarks earlier today. Take a listen.
Two of the three members of the commission finally relented. One still refused, saying his vote, quote, isn't based on any evidence, it's not based on any facts, it's only based on my gut feeling and my own intuition, and that's all I need. By the way, a few months ago, this county commissioner was found guilty of illegally entering the Capitol grounds on January 6th.
That's really obviously no way to run elections based on feelings as opposed to numbers. Are elections on shaky grounds in New Mexico?
I think elections are on shaky ground everywhere. And I think, unfortunately, we're seeing a through thread coming from the 2020 general election, what happened on January 6th, the lies, the big lie especially, and the mis and disinformation that have been spread and continue to propagate throughout a particular part of our electorate. It's really starting to take root and starting to affect even groups like this county commission who, while they have a very narrow focus, a very narrow statutory authority with regard to elections, is looking to do whatever they can to impede our election process. And I think it's something we all need to be deeply concerned about.
And just to be clear, this guy's feelings were based on his belief, I guess, in the conspiracy theories having to do with Dominion software, ones that are completely without any merit at all. And it's just so odd how they never, ever talk about Dominion voting when it has to do with electing Republicans. It's only when a Democrat does well that they start talking of these individuals. They start talking about fraud and Dominion software and the like.
Well, Jake, it's even worse because in this particular case, in this particular county in New Mexico, had they followed through with their threats, had they not certified the election results, one of the very commissioners, a Republican down in that county who was on the ballot for re-election this year, would have completely erased his name from the general election ballot. So it's gotten to the point where it's not even political anymore. It's completely nonsensical. And it's just about obstructing the election process at any cost. And clearly, disenfranchising thousands of voters in that county, ensuring that many candidates, even Republican candidates who were on the ballot down there, didn't make it on the general election ballot is a cost that they were willing to take.
Yeah. So there's disenfranchisement, there's these delusions and these lies, and there's also intimidation. There was an emotional moment from the former Georgia elections worker who testified today. She talked about how she wished she had never become an elections worker because of what she's had to endure. We also heard from your counterpart in Michigan and talking about threats to her outside her house. What happens to our democracy if good people, Democrats, Republicans, independents, are scared to run for office or to be elections workers?
I mean, this is the challenge. We are all under threat and we are all under attack. And my heart just absolutely goes out to my colleagues, whether they be chief state election officials or just folks who are working on the front lines of our democracy of all parties. What happens is, this is exactly, I think, what's being intended is a complete and utter breakdown of our democracy. I think we are on the brink here in this country. And I'm reluctant to say such things. I'm not a very hyperbolic person, but the reality is I think that's where we are. And I think it's very scary. And I think every single citizen of this country, every single voter should be taking this extremely seriously and doing everything we can in our power as citizens of this country to keep this from going over the cliff.
Secretary of State Maggie Toulouse Oliver, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.